Could California's Democrat voters finally be waking up and making the leap from Democrat to Republican? The latest voter registration report in the state of California drops a bombshell. Republicans are coming back strong. Coming up, we'll give you the numbers and we'll tell you what's really driving the shift from blue to red in California. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and I've told you for a while that California is not a lost cause, that we should stay and fight. We need to educate voters out here as to the absolute lunacy of far-left policies, the damage it's done to everyone in this state, and urge them to finally walk away from the Democrat Party. And in California, we're seeing a sizable shift, not a minuscule shift, a sizable shift of people deciding to walk away from the Democrat Party, and they're actually registering as Republican voters. And this is not just a one-time report that I'm going to share with you. This is now the third consecutive report on California voter registration in the last 12 months that has shown a marked shift for Republican voter registration. Republicans are gaining ground in terms of voters who register as part of the Republican Party. So let me share with you the report itself. This is from the Secretary of State's office, report of party registration. And the last report was in February. This report's July. There'll probably be another report in about the time that ballots hit in October. So this is the July report. And what we're seeing here, I'm going to zoom in here. In 2016, there were 45% of voters were Democrat. Now that spiked in 2020 to 46.32. That's a 1.22% increase. But when you might think that that's a small jump, it's actually a jump of 1.5 million voters for that minuscule percentage point. And then as of July, they are up to 10 million voters, which is an increase of 700,000. But take a look here. They declined as a percentage of voter registration. So while it's an increase in the total number of Democrat registrations, we're seeing that the percentage of overall voters is actually starting to decline for Democrats. Take a look here for Republicans. They started out at 27% in 2016. Then they plunged 23.99, and now a big leap forward. So this number is up. Their percentage of votes up to 24.73. Again, the Democrats declined, and the Republicans are up. And the previous three reports that are not reflected on this sheet here showed also increases for Republicans in the percentage of their share of registered votes. Independent votes went up in 2020 from 2016, and then they've gone down markedly in 2024. I want to share with you this chart here. Again, Republicans about a fifth. Democrats under 50%, but that's still a very sizable gap. We're talking about, a total of 21 and some change percentage points. Now, Republicans still have a long way to go to get parity. They don't have to equal Democrats. In fact, in most of the past several decades, Republicans have never been near Democrats in voter registration, and yet they still have won statewide offices. They just need to get much closer to be more competitive. When you take a look, though, under the hood, something very dramatic is happening in terms of not just these percentages, but the number of votes that shrank the delta. And this is, again, showing that people are waking up and registering as Republicans. Between February, the last report, and the July report, so less than 6 months, the Republican Party of California gained 94,667 votes, registered voters. The Democrats lost during the same period 43,733 for a net swing of around 135,000 and change. Now, I want to point out that there's a bunch of conservatives, Republicans, who are fleeing the state. The people who are moving out of the state are the common sense Californians who realize that this place is a hellhole. And so despite the fact that we continue to see a massive migration out of the state of California, we are still seeing this shift of about 135,000 net favor to Republican registration, a gain of 95,000 for the Republicans, a loss of about 44,000 for the Democrats. Now, I want you to understand that this is not just happenstance. The reason why voter registration is going up is specifically because of three factors. Number one, we do know that we just had a presidential primary in March. President Trump was the only candidate really that people were supporting. I don't even know if Nikki Haley was still a factor during the March primary. I don't think she ever was a factor. But in order to vote in the presidential primary for the Republicans, the Republican Party has a rule that you have to register as a Republican in order to vote in the presidential primary. Everything else is under California law. You can be any party and you get to vote on any race because we have this absurd top two system. But for presidential nominations, that is the only race where each political party can say, nope, we get our own ballot. And they set their own rules for the nominations. The Democrats allow independents to vote for their nominee, but Republicans don't. So those independents that wanted to vote for Trump, those Democrats that wanted to vote for Trump, and yes, there are Democrats who have crossed over and are supporting President Trump. In order for them to show their solidarity and support for Trump, they had to re-register as a Republican. So I think that is the number one factor in driving this shift in voter registration. The second factor is people are waking up. 65% of Californians in the latest PPIC poll suggest that the state is on the wrong track. And when the party in power has a super mega majority, it really eats away at people's willingness to be part of wrong track leadership. And so I do think that as people wake up, they're making the conscious decision. I don't want to be part of the Democrat Party. It's not just because I want to vote for Trump. It's because I'm leaving this party. They're too crazy. They're too extreme. They've done damage. The third reason why we've seen this shift is that there is an actual initiative underway led by former Trump administration ambassador and cabinet member Rick Grenell. He started a group a couple years ago, Fix California. And at Reform California, we are very supportive of Fix California. They are focused on a mission that's very different than ours. Their mission is to go out and find conservatives and register them to vote. Reform California's job is, once those people are registered to vote, is to turn out those voters for our ballot measure campaigns and in support of the candidates that we've endorsed to take back our state. The Fix California group, by the way, has a tax status that doesn't allow it to participate in candidate advocacy. And that's why they don't say they're just registering Republicans. In fact, if a conservative says that they want to register as an independent, Fix California will work with them and register them to vote. But what Fix California has done, and this is quite remarkable, and I give them great credit for coming up with this strategy, is that they've harnessed a database to look at unregistered conservatives in the state of California. People who maybe are members of the NRA, people who are military, people who are known members of churches, but they're not showing up on the voter rolls. And despite voter, there are still millions of people in California who still have not registered to vote. Surprising, but it's true. And so Rick Grenell's group, Fix California, focuses on registering conservatives from that pool of unregistered voters and getting them onto the voter rolls. And so you're seeing that project produce, I think, some of this impact. And so I took to Twitter and I gave credit where credit's due to Fix California, because a lot of people love to take credit for success that's not theirs. And I find that shameful. And that's why I was appalled when the California Republican Party, which is a dumpster fire of incompetence, ineptitude, and betrayal, they put out a press release patting themselves on the back for the voter registration swing. Bitch, please. There's no credit to go to the Republican Party of California. They had nothing to do with those voter registration shifts. Groups that actually are raising money and spending money for voter registration deserve to be applauded for their efforts. And that's why I give great credit to Rick Grinnell and the entire Fix California team. And I find it repugnant that you've got a hanger-on in the California Republican Party that wants to try to claim credit for something they had nothing to do with. So Rick Grinnell got some love from the California Globe. And by the way, Republicans gained in every county. They gained in every assembly seat, every state Senate seat, every congressional seat, all 58 counties, Republicans gained voter registration. And that's, again, proof of what I'm telling you. There is a shift going on. Is it happening fast enough? No, I want it to happen faster, but it is happening. And that's something for us to celebrate and to study why and accentuate and to do more to invite voters to walk away from the Democrat Party and get into a party that represents your values and represents real change. 2 districts did flip in terms of voter registration, and this is great because they're both target seats. Assembly District 74 in South Orange County and in North San Diego flipped from blue to red in terms of total voter registration edge by a sliver, but it still counts. And Ken Calvert's congressional district in Riverside went from a Democrat advantage to now a Republican advantage. Both of those seats are target seats that we're defending in this election cycle. So when we register voters in those districts to be Republican and we gain an edge, that helps us keep the seat. That's why voter registration is so important. And that's why when the Republican Party takes credit for something it had nothing to do with, again, they need to be called out and mocked. They absolutely need to be mocked. It is outrageous. One of the reasons why we're in a ditch is because they've been inept. They have given up this state. They've been the surrender caucus rather than real fighters. And so, look, they need to be called out, smacked for it. And the people like Fix California and Rick Grinnell, who did a great job, need to be given credit. At Reform California, we're working with groups that are actually getting the job done. We're helping them expand their projects. We're collaborating with them, integrating with them. And of course, we have our voter guide coming up. And with all these new registered Republicans, it doesn't matter if they don't turn out to vote. And if they don't vote using the voter guide that reflects our positions on ballot measures, in opposition to tax increases, and in support of our priority endorsed candidates to flip seats and to defend seats. We need your help. The election is fast approaching. So please go on the website, reformcalifornia.org, and chip in a contribution. Any amount of money will help us out. Also, sign up for our voter guide at the bottom. Just go to reformcalifornia.org, scroll down to the very bottom. First name, last name, email, phone, zip code, and subscribe. We will send you a voter guide for the ballot in your area the week that your ballot hits so that you will know the plain English description of all the ballot measures and get the endorsements for key candidate races for judge, school board, all the local city council races. Sign up to get the voter guide and then share it with your friends. We really rely on viral marketing to get the word out to win these seats and win these key races. So good news on the voter registration front for California. Let's keep up the good work. Let's keep getting people to make the big switch from Democrat to Republican. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.